Leaders Lead the Podcast. We are going to have an amazing show today. That's because we have an amazing guest. That's because you're here and you're amazing. So we're going to have a good time. Do me a favor, light up the comment section. Let me know that you're here. Type in the word here and also tell me what state or city or now country that you're listening to the show from, and share the stream with your friend. This is going to be a really good show. Hey, what's up? I'm Tony Taylor. Are you here for Leaders Lead the Podcast? Let's go. Hey, how did you beat me? Look, let me tell you about this podcast. We got like 5 seconds. Leaders Lead the Podcast is about leadership. Not just the leader without, but the leader within. All of these leaders that I'm talking to across the country, well, across the world now, they have one thing in common, and that's that they have overcome some insurmountable obstacles to get to where they're at today. Come on, let's go. Hey, welcome to Leaders Lead the Podcast. I'm super excited. I got a special guest. I know I say that all the time, special guest. I got a really special guest today, and it's Rodney C. Burris. I first became aware of Rodney from the president of the Black Speakers Network. He's like, dude, you got to get this guy on your show. And I'm like, okay. I went down the rabbit hole. And I haven't came out. This is probably about a month ago. That's how good this dude is, man. His videos on YouTube, man, just captured my soul. I'm talking about some stuff that I feel like we all need to hear about. He's talking about happiness. He's talking about how do you conjure up that happiness. He's talking about affirmations. I don't want to talk no more. I'm going to go ahead and bring him up. Hey, what's up, brother?
Bro, thank you so much, man. Tony, that piece of you running and talking and engaging, you had me like this, bro. I loved it. It was the energy. It's magnetic, man. It's great to be here. I'm looking forward to our conversation, man.
I appreciate you saying that, man. I'm looking forward to you here from Marietta, California. Let's go. Oh, I love it. We got YouTube.
Hey, Tamina.
In the building. Look like LinkedIn is still down, but it's all good. We're gonna roll, man. I'm super excited.
Absolutely.
To talk to you, man. I love your content. And before we get started, dude, there's something really special about you, bro. You know that, right?
Thank you, man. Thank you, bro.
Go ahead.
You know what I think it is?
What's that?
I think that it's a reflection.
Mm.
And I think that I have the opportunity to reflect back who you are times all of the people that we engage, man. And in a weird way, I don't know if this happens on some imperceptible level with mirrors, because it seems like your reflection in the mirror doesn't really change the mirror or the reflection. But I think with people, the simple act of engaging has an imprint, has an impression, has a changeability that happens. And I've been the recipient, bro, of that times 10,000 people, man. And it's been amazing for my life. I only hope to be able to keep reflecting that back out. So you even noticing that and saying that is kind of testament to that is working, man. So thank you so much, Tony.
No, it is, man. It is. We have some commonalities that I noticed. Well, first of all, I think we're both Black, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And we're both speakers.
That's right.
There ain't a whole bunch of us out there, right? And that's why I'm really grateful for the Black Speakers. Is it the Black Speakers Network? Is that what it is?
The Black Speakers Network, man, has been this beautiful support for me that's kind of taken me out of, because I've been doing this for a while, but I was doing it by myself and I was working with some organizations, but I was under their brand. And when I moved out and started doing it for me as Rodney C. Burris, as my own entity, Black Speakers Network kind of came out of nowhere and was like, bro, we got you. And I mean, it's brought me here. It's brought me to TT Inspires, man. Tony Taylor. So I need one of them hats. I need a hat, bro. I need to represent, rock with the fam, man.
Oh man, I'm gonna send you one. We're in
Yeah,
the middle. We're in the middle of changing out the distributors that we got, but I'll definitely, man. I'll send you one.
I'll rep it, bro.
Um,
I rep it. It looks slick.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you saying that. There's another commonality that we have. We're both products of a single parents. I saw that. How was that? How was that for you
Yeah.
growing up? And the reason that I ask is there's some people that would probably say, well, at least you had a parent. I know people like that. At least you had a parent. But then for me, when I was growing up, it was me, my mom, and my sister in the house. And
Almost the same thing. Keep going. Keep
yeah,
going.
yeah. See, that's another commonality.
Right.
I didn't even know that about you, but it was me, my mom, and my sister. And for the longest, the only representation that I had as far as a dad was the people outside of our house. So it would be like my uncles. I would
Yeah, yeah,
observe
yeah.
them, observe them being a dad to their kids
Yeah.
and being an uncle to me. But it's different
Yeah,
when
man.
you're a kid, and that was something that I always yearned for. That I always was like, man, I wish my dad was in my life. My mom
Yeah,
is
man.
amazing, but it's just different. Did you like? How was that for you,
Absolutely.
man?
Well, it affected me in a crazy way, man. So, and I and maybe this is common, right? It was crazy to me, but it was my norm back then. And then I went through a period where I was like, man, that you was crazy, bro. What was you doing? And then I realized that that probably is everybody's story, or a lot. It's very similar for a lot of people. And that was this, Tony. I had two little sisters, so it was me, my mom, and two little sisters. I didn't have all of my male representation was outside of my home as well, and I didn't know how to be a man. I didn't know what it meant to be a man. The only thing I knew is that my mom and my sisters weren't men.
Mm.
So anything that they did, I took the approach of doing the opposite, right? So any way that they talked, moved, how they kept the room, what they ate, like I did the opposite of it because I wanted to be approved in some dad's eye, maybe my real dad, maybe some other guy, that I was a man. And then I had this other internal conflict because my mom would tell me these wonderful horror stories about the emotional struggles of her earlier times with my dad, right? And
Oh,
so she would tell me, you know, that this was a struggle. I'm gonna give you an example, right? It was one point in my life, Tony, where somebody gifted my parents, I think this was before I was even born, a whole set of like pots and pans and dishware, cookware, and stuff like that. And so he came home and he was like, where we get this stuff from? My mom, according to her, one-sided story, right? I can definitely acknowledge this, but according to her version of it,
that takes a lot of maturity that you just said that. Go ahead. Didn't mean to interrupt, but
absolutely.
that yeah.
Because because I could hear the other part of this from him and be like, oh, for years I thought, and I just want to honor that possibility, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So according to how she remembered it and what she told to me, he came home. Where did we get this stuff from? Oh, we got it from such and such. Well, we don't accept hand-me-downs. We're not poor. They're not gonna pity us. And he made her throw all of it away. So I take that. She also told me it was a period of her life where she couldn't leave the house. You know, she didn't have a car and all that kind of stuff. So I got married really early because I tried to resolve all of my emotional growing up trauma with the whole wedding, a whole marriage. Just stuff in that wound, a whole family, right? And that'll fix it.
Yeah.
Not if you're not healthy, right?
Yeah.
Not if you're not healthy. And so I took the traumatized mindset that I grew up with into the earlier parts of my marriage. And so I made sure that my wife always had a car, right? And I made sure that if anybody gave us anything, that we accepted it. So that's well intended. But I also took in damaging stuff like my parents' relationship fell apart because my dad never bent. He never had any kind of giving, no collaboration, no meeting in the middle. And so I overdid that.
Mm.
Well, that's just as damaging, right? That is just as much a non-holistic approach to the well-being of a family, of a household. And I didn't realize this. And my wife said something to me, bro. This had to be, I've been married for a long time. I'm 40 years old, right?
Yeah.
I've been married for, I swear, like since the 1800s. It's been forever.
Is this the same wife that you got married to early?
Same wife, right?
Right. Okay.
Bless her heart. I don't know what she was thinking. I'd have been, but you know, she's still around, man. So, but she said something to me, and I don't know if she was aware then how profound this statement was, but this parallel blew my socks off. I was like, this will make me sound so whack. Like nobody's gonna follow me now after this, right? But let's be transparent.
I will, man, because I appreciate your honesty, man. This is good, bro.
So here's my transparent moment, bro. So we was having, this is early on, man. And I was saying to her, like we were early 20s, and I was saying, I just try to be so nice to you. And I try to listen to my voice. I just be so nice to you. And I try to give and being sweet. And she simply said this statement. She said, sometimes sugar can be too sweet. Now, I know that that's like so simple, but you know what flashed through my mind? Sugar diabetes.
Yeah.
Right? Like people die because of the imbalance in the improper usage of something that's intended to be sweet.
Yeah.
Physically, but as a parallel in life. And I didn't realize these things, bro, because I grew up trying to just like recover from trauma without any skills, right? Just on my own. And it took a lot of steps and mentors and givers and struggle and pain and a whole bunch of stuff to get to the point where I started embracing that it's not my wife's job to make me happy. It's not my mama's job to apologize to me.
Yeah.
It's not my dad's job to come back and own up to whatever it is. Because as long as I'm doing that, to use another body analogy, that's dialysis, bro. I'm not metabolizing my own stuff. It's pumping out of me and it's coming back into me, but it's making me a little weak. I feel drained. And if I got to stay hooked to that system because I haven't learned how to utilize what I was born to, all of the skills, all of the I should have it. Yeah. Not being able to do it is indicative of a dis-ease, bro. And so once I started kind of embracing that, it was a process. I'm not going to say it's like everything changed. I'm not going to say that. But the can I give one more? I know I'm talking your head off, bro.
No, keep, dude.
Okay.
Okay.
So here's one more, right?
This is good, man. I just want to be able to see the top of your head because I know.
Oh, I'm getting too close.
No, this is perfect.
Okay.
And the only reason why I say that is because, dude, this content is going to be shared over and over and over. Don't stop talking.
Okay. Here's another one.
Yeah.
So early on in our marriage, she and I had very different approaches to life, to living, to engagement, to interaction. And we were both causing each other a lot of pain because this is true about all humans, right? Because on some subconscious level, just how you and I sought each other out and realized we got all of these commonalities, right? This happens times every single job we apply to, every single relationship, right? But this is why those people in that situation over their house at that job, but then I done moved states and they all treat me the same because I'm looking for them. I'm not aware of it, but I'm looking for them. And I'm requiring these same experiences until I learn my lesson. If we taught little kids this, they would get good at it, right? But we don't. We teach little kids that, oh, they treat you wrong, get away from them. Let me get back into it. So anyway, so with me and my wife, we was having a situation, and this was about 10 years into our marriage, right? And I was really, really upset with her. When I say I was really, really upset with her, in my opinion, she had done something that just took the cake for the umpteenth time. She's a great person. This is not like a let me bash my wife. This is a Rodney Burris moment. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So,
hey, as speakers, I noticed that I give those disclaimers too because I'm like, man, I don't want my wife to be so pissed off at me when I get done.
Right.
It's almost like yeah, we open ourselves up so that we could let other people in and so that they can learn from the things that we went through. Yeah, you're good, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So in the spirit of that, right? So we had a recurring incident that happened for the umpteenth time, and I felt completely justified to be incensed. I was out of town visiting family, and I was talking to one of my homeboys, and he said a bunch of different things, but basically he said this to me. He said, "Do you realize that everything?" First of all, he egged me on. He egged, yeah, man, really? That's crazy. What else? And so I'm getting pumped. I'm like, yeah, this and this and that.
You think you got a fight friend.
Right, yeah, we good.
Yeah.
And at the end of that, he says, bro, you realize that she has been trying to say all of these same things to you about that situation? I was like, what? I want to fight him, right? Because you're not gonna just disrespect me to my face, right? But the truth of the matter is that all of that hurt, all of that pain, all of that discomfort, all of that self-justified indignation, right? When she had been expressing to me for the past 10 years at that point, how much that particular area was hurting her, I thought she needed to grow, Tony.
Yeah. You
It
thought she
was,
needed to grow.
yeah, you're making a big deal. Listen, look, out of this thing right here, this is an area, this is an opportunity for your growth. You know how arrogant that is, broski?
Yeah.
You know how
Yeah.
rude that is? And
Yeah.
so once he reflected back to me the parallel, it was the most surreal, realist, self-actualizing experience that I felt like I no longer had a right to even bring up the stuff that I was talking about. Because if her pain was similar to my pain, and I view myself as a good, decent person, I first need to do what the heck I need to do to make sure that nobody's feeling that because of me. I got to start here, bro. And that's the story of life. To start here. Gandhi said, be the change. Michael Jackson said, man in the mirror, right? All of the great leaders said, if I really, really want this, it's not them. It starts here, bro. So that was my probably greatest lesson at that point, man.
Oh, I love that. I found it interesting that you said you being the product of a single parent home
Uh-huh.
and trying to be everything different
Mhm.
than what your mom and your sister was. And I noticed for me, I was trying to be everything different than what I heard my father was.
Nice.
Yeah, and it was weird.
Okay.
It was almost like, okay, I heard this about him, so I'm not gonna be interested in that. I know that that's one of his traits. I'm not gonna do this. And the funny thing is, I went through this phase of saying, you know what? My father was not in my life, so therefore I am going to make sure that I take care of my kids, make sure that I raise my kids. And that's always been like the in the back of my head. I would always get heated in conversations where,
Uh-huh.
you know, I like it was just one of those things that I felt really strong about it at an early age.
Yeah, man.
And I got to a point where I started when in high school. I think my last 4 girlfriends that I had, they already had kids, right? So I'm already trying to be a father.
Mhm.
And I ended up marrying somebody that had a child. And to me, that was one of the things where, okay, I didn't say this on purpose, but that was one of the things, okay, I can be better. This is the opportunity
To
for me
prove it, to show it.
to show it. But just like you said, I was not ready for that. I was putting like my ego
That's right.
and my pride up here, and I wasn't ready for that. And obviously, you know, a failed marriage, stayed in the marriage way too long.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
was I a good husband? No. And I tell my wife all the time that I'm grateful that I didn't meet my wife back then because I would have been a terrible husband.
Bro,
You know what I'm saying? I would have been terrible.
it's,
So
it's it's like taking a cake out the oven too early. You can't eat that. You can't serve it. It's not good. You can't decorate it. You can't cut that up. it's too premature, and it's a lot of value and wisdom in that, man. And I'm glad that you and I, others like us, are at the place now to even honor that,
Yeah.
because maybe we can start the process or continue the process, because we can join the voices that's already doing it, of helping people see that it's okay to go through the steps to get to where you want to be, right? You don't have to do what Rodney did, shove a marriage, a relationship, a family into it. You don't have to do what Tony did, find a whole family to take care of so you can be better than dad.
Yeah.
We can be different than that, guys. We can learn from that and kind of build on that. I love that you're in the place that you're doing, bro, because you're empowering people, man.
Yeah. And it takes a lot of growth and obstacles that I have to overcome, just like everybody else. I'm still, I'm still not perfect. I'm still learning how, to be a better dad, how to respond,
Uh-huh.
better to my daughters when they're having, some issues that they have as, growing up in the times that we're in. I'm having to pull out like different and unique skill sets, which I think is really important. There's something else, man. You made me cry earlier,
Woo! Talk to me, Tony.
right? And it's weird even saying this, but I don't care. Everybody's used to me being weird because we look at it as weird, but it's normal.
Yeah,
Uh,
man.
I'll read it. Let me see if I
Okay.
can find it.
Okay. Wow.
Uh,
I'm on it, man.
I watched. So you wrote. Um, I watched my mom suffer trying to raise us. She was scared of messing up. That she almost lived in a cage. It was designed to keep me and my little sister safe. You put, and it did, but it also kept her from living. If I can go back and speak to her heart, this is what I would say to her humbly. Thank you for allowing me to share this gift to my mom with you. And the reason that I read it is because I was, doing some research on you. I'm like, 'cause like
Yeah.
I said, I went to this hole,
Yeah.
and what you were doing was you were given an affirmation, and it spoke directly to my soul because as a father,
Yeah, man.
right? As a father, as a husband of somebody that is a mom,
Yeah, man.
we need to hear that stuff. And I've been listening to other stuff, kind of like along the realms of affirmations at night,
Yeah,
right?
me too. Me
And
too.
I listen to it and certain hypnotist stuff, like
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
get over stuff just like everybody else in this world. I'm trying to get over some stuff,
That's right, man.
and just hearing that, and I'm like, man, this brother is speaking to a whole lot of different, like speaking on a whole lot of different angles and speaking to a whole bunch of different people. And I just kept hearing you say, and I don't even know if you use these words, I just kept hearing you say, you're enough. You're enough.
Yes.
Yeah. You were telling your mom that she was enough. So where
You're
did
enough.
that come from? Like, was that a conversation? And I hope I'm not getting too personal. Was that
No,
a
you're not.
conversation that y'all had together where she told you that, or was that something where you saw that in her?
I saw my mom do something that deeply and profoundly affected me. Um, when I was a boy, my mom felt overwhelmed by the pressures, and she took on a role. She had a family member that needed some help, and needed help in such a way that if this family member didn't get help, there was going to be a massive amount of people that was going to experience like fallout, financially, legally, relationship wise. It was a big deal. She was dealing with that. Her marriage had fell apart with my dad for good reasons, right? It's good that it fell apart, but it was traumatic getting to that place. She got these kids she don't know what to do with. On paper, she's making too much money to get any government assistance, but she's not making enough to really make it. Everything was bad.
Yeah.
And my mom screamed one day. We had company over. She screamed and she ran across the room and she sat on the floor of the closet and closed the door and sobbed. And I was so embarrassed because we had people over and I had never seen her have that like kind of breakdown like that. And she just kept saying, I can't, I don't know, I don't have. But she wasn't able to finish any of those statements, right? She was emoting. Tupac says, there's no way I can pay you back, but my plan is to show you that I understand. I can't pay her back for the losses that occurred when I was a kid and the sacrifices that she made for me that I don't even know about, my little sisters. But I can understand feeling like no matter what, I'm not enough. Is it time to go?
No, it ain't time to go, but how you getting in here?
The door was open.
Oh, no, you can't use the classrooms like that.
Do you mind if I finish this meeting, bro?
No, stay.
Okay. Sorry. Sorry about that.
Hey, it's all good, man. That's why we do this live, man. I love it's life, bro. It's life.
So at the end of the day, my conversation with her revolved around, you are enough. I've said that, but I realized, so I started going to therapy for myself, right? Like you said, listening to affirmations and all that kind of stuff. I was doing my own versions of those things. I started going to counseling and therapy, just trying to become different and better. Like, instead of looking at this as like, that's for crazy people, personal trainers are not for crazy people. Right. Personal chefs are not for crazy people, right? A tutor is not for a crazy person. So all of these are dedicated professionals to help us grow, improve, shore up loose ends and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to mental wellness and well-being, it's taboo.
Something must be wrong with you if you're going to see a shrink, right?
Right. No. So I've totally got past that, right? That was a process. I'm not going to do it now for this moment. But in that moment, I learned something, that when you can go back and hug the emotional part of you that was hurt at 20, at 8 years old, at 4, at 11, when you can go back and say, I'm here for you. I apologize for making you feel alone back then. I forgive you, and I feel you loving me, even though that's so out of time, right? The healing that happens then, like this some Back to the Future kind of stuff, that happens then at 11 positively impacts the me that I am now.
Wow.
So when I go back and I embrace the 7-year-old me that got smacked by my aunt and smacked by my uncle because my mom was too busy trying, and I embrace that part of me, and I let that part of me cry into me and express like, oh, I'm scared and I don't, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But then I also say, I got you. Tony, one of the problems that we have with forgiveness, which is a major thing, and we need to do it, but we kind of collectively, I believe, misunderstand it. You know, back in the day, man, when the little after school shows would come on, the movies, and mommy and dad would get a divorce, and the little kid would be like, I kind of feel like they got a divorce because it's my fault.
I remember
right?
that. Yeah.
Right? So the problem is,
I remember, I'm glad that you said that, because I remember after school special like that, and I remember thinking, maybe I'm talking too much now, but I remember thinking, man, at least your daddy is in your life. Like, suck it up. I remember saying that.
right.
Now that I look back, yeah.
Right. At least your dad is in your life. So, but that don't just happen with little kids, right? Fast forward to adults, grown, strong men go to war, right? Buddies die. And I have something called survivor's guilt, survivor's remorse, because it should have been, it's my fault that I made it, that I got through this. So it's a real human thing that when trauma happens, we internalize it and personalize it as my fault, right? But logically, I know that it's not my fault that mommy and daddy, once I get older, right? That mommy and dad, and I know it's not my fault that my bro that he lost his life in this war or all this kind of stuff. I know it's not my fault that I got raped, molested, touched. I logically know this,
Yeah.
but my feelings don't know this. So what happens is we go through the process, bro, of trying to forgive the them, which is like step 7. Step 1 is acknowledging, as nonsensical as it is, that there's a part of me that has internalized this as my fault. And because that's so painful, and because it's so awkward and that's so weird, we skip that. We skip the first 2-3 steps. So I'm at the bottom of the stairs. It's a flight, right? I'm at the floor. I want to get to step 7. Realistically speaking, there's not very many of us that can jump from this platform to the 7th stair.
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen.
It ain't happening. But we try to do it with forgiveness.
Yeah.
And then we realize that we're still mad and we can't get over it. And I'm trying and release them. And it's we got to come back down a couple of stairs and start with simply acknowledging that there's a part of me that feels like it's a part of me that's mad at me about this. There's a part of me that's disappointed at me. I was 3 when it happened.
Yeah.
I trusted them. That was and it shouldn't have. True.
Yeah.
That's logic. Emotionally, I've internalized it. And if you don't let me acknowledge that, and if you don't let me express the fact that I have these emotions around it, I can't grow. Such is life, bro. So I've just gone through this in a way. So when I was speaking to my mom, I didn't talk to her as a son talking. That affirmation that you were referring to, I spoke it in the I am. I know it's my voice. I know I sound like nobody's mama. I'm sorry, right? But it's a lot of power in saying I am enough as opposed to hearing you're good.
Yeah.
I gotta start with the me. I gotta start with the me that I am.
Yeah, dude. I thought that was dope. I was listening to it and I was just like, wow. Wow. I see so many parents again, especially like on Facebook, they'll post and they'll be like, "Oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing," or "This sucks. My kid hates me," and this and that. And you go through stuff with your own kids, and
Yeah, man.
you have those thoughts. You're like, where did I go wrong? Maybe I should have did this. Maybe, you know, dude, I've thought before. Maybe I've given my kids too much at certain points because for me,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't grow up poor or anything like that. I grew up, my mom worked her butt off, man. She was often at work when it was dark. She often almost every day came home when it was dark. She worked really hard, bro. And she would always tell me one thing that I want you to do is I want you to be better than me. I want you to do more than I've done. So no matter what that means, if that means financial, if that means the way that you love your kids, that means the way that you love your spouse, that means the way that you dig yourself into your career, I want you to be better than me. And that's something that I've always thought about. And you fast forward to life and life starts happening. You hear that in the back of your head and you're like, damn, am I doing a good job? But then you go back to your intention. You're just like, dude, I give everything that I have to what I'm doing right now, to what I'm doing for them. And so that's why when I heard that message, I'm like, that's deep because I am enough. So I want to say thank you, dude, for making that. And I was working on a post. I'm going to share that today. I think more people need to hear that. It was, I felt something deeply hearing it, bro. Yeah, I felt, yeah, dude.
Amazing.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I know that you got to go. I was going to ask you, we share another commonality.
Yeah, man.
You and I both was homeless at a point in time in our life.
Yeah, man.
And one thing for me, I always go back to that moment because I remember that moment. It wasn't like I didn't have absolutely nowhere to go. I could have easily called, one of my relatives and said, "Hey, this is the situation that I'm in." Could have easily called my mom. Even still to this day, if my mom is watching this, she'll probably put in the freaking chat, "You never said anything to anybody." That's pretty sure that's what she's thinking. She's probably not going to say it because I just said it. But
right. You beat it to the punch, man.
yeah, I almost felt like I needed to living that experience. I remember being in the back of the car. It was probably like the 6th time that I had turned the car on and turned the car
warm it
off
up.
to warm it up. Yeah, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I remember laying there. I remember laying there with, because I had all these like all this army gear and I had it like on the top of me to keep me warm. And I remember laying there and just smiling because I'm like, it was almost like I was in paradise because I knew that I would never be at this point ever again. And I knew that this was going to help me. And that's always in, that, how David Goggins say the cookie jar. I always have that in my cookie jar because I'm like, if I went through that, I can go through that. Like I can go through this. Did you ever have those moments where you like, bro, you need that. Yeah.
So I'm a tell. So my homeless piece can be found online. I'm gonna share something that's not online, right? So I had a very similar smiling to myself in the middle of some mucky mess experience, Tony. And so one of mine was when I was washing up in the bathroom in Burger King. Okay, so I was contracted to go speak at some school, right? Success, life after graduation, career, decision-making, positive choices, all this kind of stuff. And the high school's like 3 or 4 hours out, right? So the company would pay me on a reimbursement tip, right? And so I didn't have enough money to get a hotel. I didn't have enough money to rent a car, but my car, oddly enough, got hit while it was parked. It got hit while it was parked. And so the back of my car was smashed in like a soda can, right? I drove this car way out of town somewhere. I slept in my car. I wear all black, right? I wear all black because I learned, it's part of my brand now, but I learned, Tony, that it hides wrinkles a little bit, right? Yeah. And if you roll it up just right, if you fold it, it's gonna have those creases in it, those wrinkled creases, right? But if you roll it, it can just unroll. So I had my stuff. I slept in my car. I got a really, really early, dark 30 in the morning. I went to this Burger King. I unrolled my stuff, right? I'm getting dressed and washing and brushing my teeth in the bathroom of this little dirty Burger King to go to a school and tell these younger minds, you can be successful and you can graduate and be what you want to be. And it was in the moment of washing up in that bathroom, bro, after having turned the car on and off throughout the night, that I realized this is part of my story. This is in my cookie jar. And I'm going to be able to, if I have the mindset that this is growth. Now, if I have the mindset that this just sucks, I'm gonna have to relive this in some other kind of way, right? Maybe not homeless, maybe not in my car, but there's gonna be some other relationship, some other girlfriend, some other grandma, some other job, some other something that's going to give me this lesson. I believe the beauty of it is looking at this hurt as not an injury, but a soreness. And the distinction.
Say it again, please.
Right. The distinction. I was running with a buddy of mine track, and he's like this national NCAA hurdler, right? Years ago, out of Florida State. And I told him I couldn't train with him one day. I was like, I can't do it today, man. I'm hurt. He's like, what do you mean you hurt? I said, I'm hurt. Like, what you talking about? I can't run. Been running for days. I can't run. He said, are you injured? Or are you sore? I'm like, bruh, I just told you. Tomato. What are you talking about? I'm hurt. He's like, nope, not tomato. He's like, injury, you need to rest it. You need to rehabilitate it, or else you're going to cause damage to whatever part of your body it is. But if you're sore, that just means your workout is working.
So is life. Oh, wow. That's good, man. That's really good. I was going to ask you as a last question.
I'm good.
Are you good? Okay.
Yeah, I know the guy wanted to kick me out. I'm just going to squat, man. You know how it is. You know how it is squatting. You know how it is.
Yeah, it's like what are you gonna do? Physically freaking remove me from the
I'm not getting removed, so we're good to go. We just have a difference of opinion. Now go ahead.
That'd actually be good, man. If people you're giving that word, man. You got the mic and they're trying to freaking get you off the stage. I imagine like Wolf of Wall Street.
And I'm not going. I'm not budget. Right?
I'm staying.
Give me liberty or get right. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. So how long have you been speaking, bro?
2005 is when I started, man. It was an accident. I had no idea I was going to have a life of this. I was working at a nonprofit. My oldest kids are twins. They were about to be born. I needed to get some supplemental income. I asked a big brother of mine at the job, like, hey, I need something. We jumped online. We found this thing on Monster.com, which was a job website, that said, you like talking to kids? You funny looking? Can you hold people's attention? I was like, bet, checked all of that stuff, right? If you want to help us inspire young minds, send us a video about you talking about anything for 5 minutes, right? And your resume. And if you can hold our attention for 5 minutes, we believe that you can hold the attention of these young people, right? I was going to send my video in. I didn't do it. My mentor that I asked to help me out, he was about to kick my butt because he saw it. Like when we were reading it, he was shaking his head. He was like, Rodney, your life's about to change. And I'm like, I just was homeless some years ago. Like, what you talking about? Like, my parents weren't together. My mom just had a breakdown a couple years ago in the closet. Like, I don't even know who I am, and I'm married and got kids. What do you mean, my life? There was no part of me in my background that could have grasped the reality of that potential future. And so as happy as he was, I felt small and lost, and I didn't believe it. As a matter of fact, I knew it wasn't going to work for me. That was on a Friday. On a Monday, I came back to the job. He met me. Hey, how'd you do it? You submit your video? Man, I didn't do it because... And I made up all of these excuses, and he got so incensed with me. He said, Rodney, don't you ever let somebody be more excited about your future than yourself. And then, instead of kicking my butt, what I thought he was really about to do in a suit at the job, he gave me the most verbal but needed thrashing. I was offended. I was hurt. But I didn't realize that my hurt was an injury.
Sometimes we got to get offended.
Sometimes you got to get offended because it broke my little dumb excuses, Tony. Like that, when I felt that breaking, I thought it was my spirit. I thought it was he offended me. It was breaking away my little dumb excuses about barriers and obstacles, right? Impossibility. I submitted my video that week. Them people flew me out to Ohio. I certified on their stuff. And then I've been speaking ever since for different organizations and all that kind of stuff. And in the midst of all of that and traveling and speaking and such, I found myself in a Burger King bathroom. Yeah. So yes, it went up, but then it was this. That was the process. It was going up and down and up and down. But over time, Tony, the trajectory was moving forward. And I appreciate that, man. I appreciate the life lesson in all of that, man.
What is it? What is it? Because I was just talking to my wife about this the other day. I talked to everybody about this. When I made the decision, first of all, I've always been afraid of public speaking. Like,
really?
Yeah, always, bro. And I
You're
always
great at it, and you look so comfortable.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Like I get nervous even doing this, like before. And I don't have no problem saying that because I want to inspire other people to get outside their comfort zone, especially if they got something to say, which I know I got something to say because going through the ebbs and flows of life, you pick up certain stuff and you're like, man, I see somebody else going through that. Right. I don't want to see them fall the way that I did, but it's crazy. I talk to speakers across the world and they say that they have the same experiences to where they're like, there's no way that I can do it. And then they step into it and then they start doing it. Right. And then they go through the biggest obstacle that they've ever been through in their life. And it makes them like even more impactful than what they were before. The last 2 years of my life have been the roughest. And even everything before that, bro, I thought that, oh man,
that was rough.
I was raised without a dad, or you know what I'm saying? Like, all these freaking excuses. But the last 2 years, man, I got hit with something where I'm just like, if I can get through this, I can get through that. And it seems like a lot of speakers, that's what happens. Do you feel like it's made you like an even better speaker going through that?
Yeah, man. Tony, how old are you, bro? If you don't mind me asking.
I don't. I'm 39.
Same age, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when we were kids, Saturday morning, X-Men cartoon. I know you know about it. I know you know all about it.
X-Men. I watched I was what did I watched like Transformers. I watched
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so let me do this. Let me do the X-Men parallel that relates to your past 2 years, my story and struggle, etc. Right?
Yeah.
So Saturday mornings, the X-Men cartoon, right, coming on in the 90s, right? And so it was this one like multi-part episode, right? They strung us out for weeks. None of this binging Netflix, Hulu stuff, right? They strung us out for weeks with this crap, right? This great story.
Which I think is terrible that they did that back in the day.
Right.
But go ahead.
So what happened was some guy came from the future and said, hey, it's real bad in the future. There's no mutants. Everybody's been wiped out because they came out with some disease that's killing all of everybody and is real bad. And so they're trying to like prevent and stop. And then in the midst of it, the good guy who came back to try to help at the last moment took the like beginning disease when it was just like, because it was formulated, right? It was created in the series, in the cartoon. And he took this jar of this like genocide thing and he dumped it all over Wolverine. And so now all of the other X-Men who thought that this was a good guy from the future, they're like turning, like armed up, guns like ready, like what's going on, ready to fight. And it goes, that's the end of the commercial. That's the end of that episode for that week, right? The next week, Tony, it loops back around and Wolverine is suffering. He's going through all, it's coming all over his body and he's just dying. And he's, and then he starts healing because he's freaking Wolverine.
Mm.
And then the guy, because they had him hemmed up, the good guy who turned out to be the bad guy, he said, I had to do it because when Wolverine heals, we can take his blood, his story, his experience, and create an antidote. I can't give this to everybody, but if I give this to Tony, he's going to heal. He's going to suffer. He's going to writhe in pain. But if Tony gets through this, which he will because he's designed to, he's Logan, he's Wolverine.
Because I'm freaking X-Men. Because I'm freaking Wolverine. Yeah.
Take that story, that lifeline, that blood, and pump it out over these networks. And now people who would have gone through that and suffered and not made it can just take a piece of Tony Taylor's story, a little bit maybe of Rodney and some of our other folks. And now we all are leveling up, man. And I absolutely believe that that's why. I absolutely believe that in my heart.
Wow. I like that.
Yeah, man.
I like that. So I'm going to think about that the next the next trial and tribulation.
Yeah, that's right, man.
That's good stuff. I know you're a man of affirmation. What is something even still today that you have to remind yourself
about? Abundance. So I didn't realize that I grew up with a poverty mindset. I didn't realize that every time I heard any adult in my life say, we don't have money for that, you can't do that, stop being, I hope we can pay the bills, right? We get a miracle in our finances, just pray about the money, get enough to make it, trying to get by. I had no idea that was programming the Play-Doh of my mind into the shape of lack. There's not enough. Money is bad. You're going to lose. You spent it all. Burn your pocket. We don't grow on trees. We don't got McDonald's money. All of those.
My granddaddy say that. Boy, that money burning a hole in your pocket.
Hole in your pocket. Money burns holes. Like everything about, the love of it is the root of all evil. Like that's what I was indoctrinated with.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Tony, what that did for me was I started off the first part of my young adulthood as a young married father look looking for struggle.
Damn.
I looked for it. I needed to find a house. I bought a fixer upper because I thought
That's how you start.
that's how you start. Says who, Brody? Why?
Uh,
Why? Why do we
man.
have to start with nothing? Why do we got to start at the bottom? Because that's not everybody's story. I I chose it because I was programmed. And so now I have these periods, man, where I find myself falling back into the vestiges of lack, falling back into the mindset of it's not enough. It's I got money in the bank, bro. But when you feel like you're not good enough, when you feel unpretty, when you feel that you're too this, too not enough this, you're gonna act like it. You know,
Right.
you're always gonna be like, oh snap. Last thing I'm gonna say, I'm gonna get out of here because this saying my Mac is about to go to sleep unless I plug it in. So
It's all good, bro.
okay, all right. So I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna stop talking your head off, T. I saw this post and it said, when you take a picture of a sunset, as beautiful as that is, right? And you look at your camera and you see that for whatever reason you didn't take a good picture. There's no part of your head that says that sunset is ugly. You know for a fact, my angle, my camera, whatever, my lighting, whatever it is. But we don't do that if we turn the camera on ourselves and take a selfie. We automatically attribute that image must be the me that I am. Let's instead give ourselves the same grace that we would give a sunset. That knocked my socks off, bro. That knocked my goddamn socks off. Because if I keep looking at the image of my life, bank account situations, relationships, whatever it is, those reflections, and I see that it don't look so good, if I don't say that's not the truth of the sunset, that's the truth of this image in this moment, and that's not me. If I don't do that, I'm going to embrace that I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
Black. I'm going to embrace that. And then I'm going to look for it and then I'm going to live it. So the whole lesson I guess I've been trying to say for myself this whole time is that if it has to be, it starts with me. And I believe that. That's one of my affirmations, kind of to your question, that I say every single day.
I love it. Dude, thank you, man. I appreciate you doing this, man. I'm gonna say everybody they love you, man. My freaking audience, that's my wife. I guess that's not cool for me to say my wife love you. But
Yes, look, she got a sunset. She put a sunset.
nah, man, that's dope, man. This has been good, man. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart, man. This was
We got to
really
stay in touch,
special.
man. What state
Let's
are you
do
in,
it.
bro?
I'm in Washington State. You're in Baltimore, right?
Yeah, you're on the West Coast. So I would love, man, you're a kindred spirit, and I would love to do some sort of brotherhood building with you. I would love to combine and do a project where we touch some lives and we build wealth and we teach people it's okay to build wealth, that you can
Let's do
help
it.
people and build wealth. But I want to do that and look for ways to creatively do it together, at least one or two things, man. So this ain't the end of our combo, man. I think this is
Yeah. Yeah, you got my number, man. Lock it
yeah.
in. I'll be thinking of some stuff too. Dude, I appreciate you being willing to do this, man. It's been an honor. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Cool. All right, Brody. I'm gonna plug this thing in, man, and I don't want that guy to come kick me out of here.
All right, man. It's
Love
been
the
real.
audience, man.
Man.
Thank you, homie.
All right, peace. Oh man, that was so good. Rodney Burris, go and look him up. He's an amazing motivational speaker. As I said, I found him. That sounded weird. He's an amazing motivational speaker. I found out about him through the Black Speaker Network through Brian Olds, and he did not disappoint. One thing I learned from Rodney is your situation, right? The situation that you find yourself in, it does not need to tear you down. So if you're in a situation right now, a bad situation, bad circumstance, know and understand this. You will come out of it. You're going to come out of it, because the last situation that you were in, that was the worst, right? Unless it's a continuation, you came out of it. And that's what life is about. Life is about coming out of the situation. It doesn't matter what you do or how much esteem that you have. This guy, I looked him up. I mean, he's one of the best motivational speakers, not just in the country, but across the world. But he was going through a situation. He was homeless, and telling kids how to be successful. Imagine what that might have felt like. Imagine what he felt like going through that, telling them that they can do it, telling them that they got to keep going. But he's going, and he went to the washroom to take a bath pretty much in the Burger King bathroom. If he got through it, you can get through it. So what do we got? Tomorrow, we got a treat. We got Ray Robinson. You can tell I'm a boxing fan. We got Ray Leonard Jr. He is the CEO of Ovations. He's going to come and he's going to bless us for about an hour. The first time that I ever seen Ray was I was a little kid, and he had his own commercial. He was on a 7-Up commercial, and his dad is actually Sugar Ray Leonard, right? Sugar Ray Leonard Sr. His dad was in the gym, is like working out, and of course they're drinking 7-Up. Freaking, there's like a little kid drinking a freaking big thing of 7-Up, and I guess that was what was fueling Ray's fire at the time, or it's so called. That was like his energy drink or whatever. But there were some kids. They were like outside, and they were like, "Oh my God, you know him?" And he's like, "That's my dad." And I remember thinking, man, I wish my dad was Sugar Ray Leonard. But anyway, that was the first time that I ever seen him. He is a really cool dude. He's going to be on the show tomorrow. So please tune in. Well, if you're watching this on LinkedIn, tomorrow's today, because it don't look like we posted. But anyway, so y'all take care. I see you tomorrow, 5 p.m. tomorrow, Friday. And also do me a favor, go to, there we go. I hit it. I was going to do like that. Go and listen to us on Apple Podcasts. We're streaming. Okay, look at that. 4 p.m. Sorry. 4 p.m. So go and check us out on Apple Podcasts. You can go ahead. You can scan it right now. You can hear all the episodes that we've done so far. We've had some killer episodes, like really, really good episodes. I'm talking about walking away crying, hugging, all of that good stuff. But yeah, I'll see y'all later. Y'all take care. Hit my little button. This is awkward. I got like a cool video, but I can't find it. There it goes. Whew, that was great. If you enjoyed this podcast, well, I'm sure you enjoyed it. If you're still here with us, what I want you to do is head over to your favorite podcast and streaming network and give us a download, subscribe to the channel, and also let us know what you think about the show. And from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you for the things that you've done. Thank you for the things that you're doing. And especially thank you for the things that you're going to do, because I know that you're going to do something amazing.